Coming up on Life on Air.
It's not about just being seen. It's not about what you just look like. It's about the whole package. It's about what you look like, how you deliver yourself, how you carry yourself, and what you're saying as well.
Top demo reel editor Brian Rose of B-Rose Productions stops by to share his expertise on how to create a great demo reel. He'll also tell you the one thing you absolutely need to avoid when creating your reel.
Some people might think I'm a magician, but I can't really fix that. You know.
Life on Air starts right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Life on Air. My name is Tim Tialdo, and welcome to the podcast for the TV hosting industry. As always, my job is to connect you with the experts in the industry to help you become the best host you can be. And today is something very special because it's something you have to have as a host, and that's a demo reel. And let me just give you a personal story before we introduce my guest today. I remember back when I was a news anchor. And I got out of that side of the business because I wanted to get into entertainment, much like many of you probably did or do. And I had a demo reel at the time for news. And for those of you who have been in news before, it was a long reel. It was probably 13 or 15 minutes long because it was a little montage up front. And then I had to have a whole anchoring show. And then I had to have some stories after that. And it was 13 to 15 minutes. So when I got into the hosting side and I started doing some feature reporting and getting more into the actual hosting gigs, I thought, you know what, I can create my own reel. And I went to a couple of friends at a production company, and they helped me make a reel, and it was about 15 minutes long. And I remember the first few times I submitted it, people were like, how long is this? They didn't even want to watch it because they got through about a minute and a half, and they were like, this is going on way too long. And so I started doing a ton of research and trying to find out, who really knows about hosting and hosting reels specifically. And I kept coming across one name. The hosting coaches were talking about him. The casting directors were talking about him. And I thought, well, if they're talking about him, this is the guy that I definitely want to work with because, you want top quality. And when you put it out there, obviously, you want the people that are in the top of the industry, like coaches and casting directors, to say this is good stuff. So his name is Brian Rose, and he is the creator of B-Rose Productions, and it's my great pleasure to welcome him today. Brian, how are you, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing really good, and I guess the first question I want to ask you, because I never actually did get to ask you this, is this is such a niche business. I mean, a hosting reel, that's not something you go to school to study to do. How did you get into it?
Well, it's kind of funny, actually, Tim. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Hey, my pleasure.
Listening to your story, starting out in TV news, I did as well. But I actually was behind the scenes, as a photojournalist and editor. For me, I started out editing my own reels, because I had to have a demo reel just like you on air in order for me to get my next job. So, I started editing my own demo reels. And of course, reporters like yourself would always say, "Hey, can you do me a favor and just cut me a reel on the weekend when everyone's gone?" Yeah. And so, I started cutting the reels that way, and I just felt like I had a good idea and niche for seeing what's relevant and what bringing out that person's talent on, within the presentation of the video. And then through the years, I've transitioned out of TV news and stayed in the video production world, but kind of got involved with a couple of people within the Hollywood area, some talent agents and stuff, and just started kind of working with them and build up my clientele that way. I just started transitioning from the TV news world to the TV hosting world, or just the hosting world in general.
Sure. And I remember the first time I went to your site, it was all host reels, and there were probably 20 or 30 of them. There were some people that were on E. There were hosts from all over the country. And what I loved about them more than anything is that the music was hot and the reels were fast-paced, and it really felt like, this is entertainment. And it's not just television. Is that what you always kind of shot for?
I watch a lot of other people's demo reels. A lot of people, a lot of hosts, when they wanted their demo reels done, they would send me their previous demo reels, and say, "Hey, this is my old demo reel, but here's all my new stuff." So I got a chance to see what other editors were doing with the material. And to be honest with you, I'm not knocking anybody. I just didn't see anyone kind of hitting it on the nose because, in my opinion, the music is there to set the tone and the pace and the feel of your reel. And you don't want it to be, something that's going to be slow, or obviously you want to catch the attention of the person who's in, which is most likely the casting director. So, the whole idea of using the hot music and even the montage up front sometimes, is really just to kind of give you the set the mood and tone so that you keep their attention. You don't want it to be too long anyways. So
Sure. Well, I know there's A ton of questions everybody always has about reels, and I know we certainly won't be able to get to them during this podcast, but maybe we can concentrate on 3 to 5 keys that can help people as they're either looking at getting a demo reel done, or maybe taking the one they have and making it better, or who knows, they might even look to hire you. So let's maybe if we could just go through a few of those. And I think the first question I know I had before I came to you is, what's the best way that I need to prepare before I start either trying to create a reel myself or maybe hire somebody like yourself?
To be honest with you, every host or client or whatever walk of life you come from, whatever you want to do, you come with different material. Maybe you have some, maybe you don't. Maybe you shot, stuff at home, or maybe you've been on E! Entertainment or, some of the bigger networks. So it's hard to say this is what you should do, but let's just say you have some material already, right? So you kind of established up a little bit. Maybe you've had a demo reel before, and you're trying to take it to the next level. Well, you probably already have some material. So the best way to do is to kind of, obviously compile it all. A lot of times, after I've already connected with the client, usually they're already trying to gather all the material anyways. So I would say you might as well just do that up front before you go down the path of exploring the demo reel. Just call the networks or whoever you did stuff with, and make sure you keep copies of that stuff, whether it's on a file format or on a DVD. For people who don't have material already, because I know this can be kind of an intimidating process for people who never really shot much before, but they're trying to break in.
Yeah.
I would suggest, if you're locally in Southern California, of course, I'm available to actually go shoot your reel for you, and then put it all together in a package. But let's just say you're not in Southern California. The best thing I would say is, you can always look to Craigslist. Craigslist is a good place to find someone who knows how to shoot, and it's important to find someone who knows how to shoot, because they got to be thinking of things like audio and to be able to shoot it in an interesting way. When it comes to audio, I find that it's important that you shoot it in a place that is not noisy, that's not distracting, because at the end of the day, this demo reel is all about you. It's not about everyone around you. It's just about you. And then the idea is to take that tool and sell yourself with it.
And we've certainly seen the disasters of people standing in the middle of the street trying to use the mic off the camera and scream at it.
Exactly. I mean, I've dealt with that a few times, and some people might think I'm a magician, but I can't really fix that. So I always kind of tell people, when you're shooting on the street, if you don't have a wireless mic, that you can hook up, that you're going to get proper sound. At least go to a quieter place, that you're close to the camera so that you can be heard, because it's not about just being seen. It's not about what you just look like. It's about the whole package. It's about what you look like, how you deliver yourself, how you carry yourself, and what you're saying as well, and how natural that comes off. So I think, all that wrapped up into one package is kind of what's going to sell you and also further your own career on it from a hosting aspect.
And in addition, you had mentioned trying to find, maybe a photographer that has a camera on Craigslist. Another site that I've used in the past that actually works as well is called Elance.
Yep.
For those of you listening, Craigslist or Elance, those are both great resources if you're just looking for a photographer to help you. Now, another thing is, okay, so let's say we do get a photographer or they hire you, and now it's time to actually go out and shoot the material. Well, what kind of material should I be shooting to put on the reel? I mean, what's the best stuff that casting directors and host coaches like to see? That's
a good question. Typically, if someone, in Southern California here says, "Hey, Brian, I want to use your service, and I want you to come out and shoot a reel with me," what I always tell them is, "Okay, cool. We're working together. I'm not working for you. You're not working alone. I'm gonna guide you through this process, but it's going to require some work on your end as well, because at the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff you're going to be doing in the real world after you land your job, right?" So I say, the idea is to come up with, let's say, for a starter hosting reel where you haven't had any material already, where you want to create your own. I would say come up with up to 6 segments. And when I say 6 segments, I don't mean long, drawn-out segments. I'm talking about, maybe 3 stand-ups, something you do out in the field, whether it's in front of, in front of the courthouse or whatever your niche is, you know, whether you're entertainment-y or sports related or whatever it might be. So I would say, you know, come up with about 3 different stand-ups, and then usually I like to try and get maybe a couple, you know, MOS, man on the street type things where you formulate a question, you know, maybe start out actually with an intro, formulate the question and toss it to the person on the street, because I find it's important to show that you can compose, you know, yourself around a busier environment. I think that goes a long way, showing that you're able to carry yourself and compose yourself that way. And then also deliver a question. And then, you know, what I like to see too is after the question is delivered and the answer is being answered by the person, sometimes, you know, hosts are able to bounce back and forth and, you know, bounce off each other, the person that they're talking to. And I find that's a very strong, you know, a strong tool to have in your demo reel, something that you can bounce off the person you're talking with very naturally, because you know that's not scripted.
Yeah.
So after the, I'd say 3 stand-ups, 2 MOS, you know, you can either do another stand-up, another MOS, or an interview of some sort. But the whole idea is to really show that you can carry yourself, that you can deliver a question, and that you feel comfortable in front of the camera.
Some really good stuff here. I have just a couple of quick questions I want to get to before we go here. And
Sure.
This was probably the biggest one that I was absolutely blown away with, and I just didn't know this until I met you. How long should a reel be for a host?
Well, it's funny. I think this is for hosting reels specifically, because all you know, news reels are very different, acting reels are different, but specifically with host reels, it's funny. When I first started editing reels, I was told, like, you know, you want to have them around 5 minutes long, and I was like, all right. So, you know, started cutting reels between, you know, 4 to 5.5 minutes, and, you know, over time, I was, you know, told by people in the industry, you know, it's just a little bit too long. And to be honest with you, I agree. I think it's just way too long. I think it's more important to pack a punch. So, you know, if it was up to me, I would say, you know, 3, maybe 3.5 minutes if you can, or not if you can, but if you want to, you know, because I think at the end of the day, the casting directors just get inundated with the amount of material, and, you know, while they're looking for the best person, it still becomes probably overwhelming to them to have to look through every single person's demo reel. So, you know, the idea is to just really capture their attention and do it in a short, powerful, you know, pack a punch way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now, I know there's a lot of people listening going, this is all great stuff, and I want to learn so much more, and you and I could talk about this all day if we wanted to, but
yeah.
Let's just say that they are at the position where they're saying, you know what, I'd like to hire a professional to help me out because I don't know what I'm doing. If they were to hire somebody like yourself, I mean, what kind of price ranges are we looking at to be able to do a demo reel these days? You
know, for a demo reel that for someone who doesn't have any material at all, you know, he needs the material shot and edited and put together and stuff, and also help ideas, their own ideas being bounced off somebody like myself. You know, I charge about $900, and that includes, you know, pretty much me to travel to you in Southern California, and usually about 1 to 2 locations in that area that you can kind of, you know, gather a variety of looks, so to speak, you know, somewhere that you can maybe grab a man on the street interview, but also do a stand-up, but kind of look different. And there's different places that we've done that before. You know, that usually comes with 3 DVD copies and an internet file for you if you have a website, as well as a complimentary YouTube posting. And so, yeah, that package runs about $900. And for somebody who already has material, who's just looking to put, you know, a demo reel together, I actually work with flat rates. And my flat rate is $350 for that demo reel. And that's, like I said, for somebody who already kind of has some material, who doesn't need really graphics put on there, and so to speak. So yeah, that's my basic package right there, the $350, and then it goes all the way up to the $900, which is the custom package. And I have a couple in between, but those are just kind of for, you know, people who shot some material, who shot their own material, but maybe they need some custom, you know, bug graphics on there and some, you know, some lower thirds, that kind of thing. And that jumps the price up to about $435.
And I can personally attest that, I mean, I've gone online and researched editors all day long, and you by far had the most competitive prices, I guess is probably the best word, because there are editors out there who want to charge, you know, $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 for the work, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't have that kind of money just to put together a little 3-minute reel. So
I just wanted to add too, Tim. The reason I put the prices the way I do is because I understand the market in terms of where hosts are at. You're not making, a lot of them aren't making big bucks yet. You kind of need to get your foot in the door, and I get it. So I want to make it affordable for all hosts to be able to come and get your demo reel done with me. I also, in a lot of ways, I'm just kind of hoping you're going to keep coming back to me every time you need to update your reel, and that's kind of a cool feature that I offer, is that once you have your demo reel done with me with B Rose Productions, I make it really easy for you to update that reel, and I charge about $30 a clip to add, and I charge $10 a clip to remove. So, let's just say you create your reel, and 6 months down the line, you book a gig, and you're like, oh man, I got this gig, and I want to add it into my demo reel. Well, you pull 2 clips out of there, out of your new stuff, and you're only tossing $60 away, and you've already updated your reel. So I make it pretty affordable. And another point I want to add real quick is that I've gotten a lot of feedback over the 12 years that I've been editing demo reels from people who went to other places to get the demo reel done, and they sometimes clients feel that they've been cheated by these other companies. I'm not saying that the other companies don't do a bad job or that they are cheating people or whatever, but what I'm saying is that's the feedback I've received, and I think it's because they come from the hourly rate standpoint, where the client, the host, is going into it going, okay, I only have this much kind of to spend, and they're telling me it's going to be this much, but at the end of the day, it was 3 times that, and so they feel kind of cheated. So I think, that was kind of my rationale in terms of doing a flat rate. But I also kind of stress up front and ask the client to kind of log some of their material and do a little bit of the work there, so that it not only saves on time, but it does save on time, but it also ensures that your demo reel is done in a quick fashion for you to be able to get it out there and start getting work.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a great personal experience with you. I sent some DVDs out to you. We went through the process. It was timely. It was affordable. You did an awesome job, and you've definitely earned my business. And, folks, I would not bring this guy on if I did not believe he was the best in the business. So I highly recommend Brian Rose. Once again, thank you for coming on the podcast. You can go to his website at broseproductions.com. That's B-Rose, R-O-S-E, productions.com. You'll see my reel on there. You'll see a bunch of different reels of, everything from women on infomercials to, I believe, guys doing fashion shows. Is that right, Brian?
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, you'll learn a lot just by watching some of those demo reels, and then you're welcome to contact Brian, because if you want to be a host, look, you have to have that reel. It's one of your calling cards, and you will not get anywhere without it. I can assure you of that. So once again, B Rose Productions. Brian, man, thanks so much for spending the time today.
Hey, thanks for having me on your podcast, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. You've been listening to Life on Air, and folks, remember, the best way to predict your future is to go out and create it. Now go do it. We'll see you next week.